Welcome back to another edition of ESBR Boxing. I'm Thomas, joined by my colleague Paul. And today we'll be discussing what's next for Jesse Bam Rodriguez after his third round TKO of Pedro Guevara last night in Philadelphia. Uh, Paul, thank you for joining. And before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, interact with our content any way you can. That would be greatly appreciated. So, business as expected for Jesse Bam Rodriguez. I don't think anybody was expecting him to lose last night. Um, what is there anything that you would like to see him do at 115? Um, obviously they're chatting about a potential fight with Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez next year. What do you think about that matchup?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Thomas. In short, I don't think Bam Rodriguez can be beaten at Superfly. I think he is that good. I mean, I was maybe one of these people that thought Sonny Edwards could have had the perfect style to beat him. But after watching that and just after watching his performance against, Estrada, even going back to his fights previously, his name's just completely gone out. Rungbasai, can't believe I forgot his name. That Quadras, kind of those kind of victories, and what we saw against Guevara. Yes, we expected him to do it. Maybe sooner. He maybe did it sooner than we thought. I thought he was going to win via stoppage, but maybe a wee bit later on. But man, I look at the 115-pound landscape, and yes, the smaller weight divisions down there aren't as big as maybe the higher ones and the ones that we're more used to seeing. But that's not his fault. I think you can, as you said, like you can only beat who's and put it in front of him. And at just 24 years of age, Bam Rodriguez is a pound for pound star. Let's be honest. He's he's definitely in. He has to be in everyone's top 10 pound for pound, and that's quite scary to think when he's only 24. I think he's only going to get better as well. As long as he lives the life and continues doing what he's doing, I think it would takes a brave man to bet against Bam Rodriguez. To be quite honest with you, mate. You mentioned the Chocolatito fight. What an absolute legend. Love Chocolatito. Love Roman Gonzalez. One of my favorite fighters to have watched over his career. I love him, and I don't want to see that fight. If kind of from the standpoint of a Chocolatito fan. Again, if you're Bam, it's a good name to have in your resume if you were to win. I would expect Bam to win that fight. I'd probably expect him to stop Chocolatito as well, just at the stage of the careers. Um, that's not to say that Chocolatito's not game. Like as I said, he's a legend of the sport, an all-time great. He'll go down in the history books as a Hall of Famer. But right now, I don't want to see that fight. I think it would end pretty badly for Chocolatito, to be honest. I think we would see another bomb knockout. He's just incredible. He really, really is. As you can probably tell, I'm getting very high on Bam Rodriguez. And it's just the fact that he's only 24. Like as I mentioned, he's already beat Rung Visai. He's already beat Estrada, who a lot of people had in the top five pound for pound for a while. These are guys that he's just blowing away. And yeah, I'm so impressed by Jesse Bam Rodriguez. I can't see anyone beating him at 115 pounds. None of the other champions, Cafu, Martinez, whoever, Chocolatito, no, I can't see anybody beating Bam. So yeah, for me, I'd like to see him maybe move up to Bantam in the not so distant future.
Yeah, to be honest with you, man, hard to argue with you. Me personally, I have mixed feelings on the Chocolatito fight. I basically feel the same way you do. Um, I love Chocolatito, and I've loved watching him over the years, but he's getting up there, especially at a low weight class, right? He's getting into his late 30s at 115 pounds, so and he hasn't fought in over 2 years, or just about two, or no, apologies. Um, he had a
Yeah,
fight in Nicaragua um, earlier this summer, but not at the high level. So he has all that going against him. I would like to see it just because, you know, given Jesse's already beaten Sorung Visai, he's already beaten Quadras, he's already beaten he's already beaten Estrada. So it would just like make sense for Chocolatito to
Yeah.
be on that resume. But yeah, not really. Obviously, he wouldn't be facing the best form of Chocolatito at all. So anyway, yeah, on to 118 pounds then. What do you think lies ahead for him there? I like the Jindo Nakatani fight personally. Um, do you feel the same way as well, or is there any other matchups you'd like to see there?
Yeah, obviously the bantamweight division is kind of dominated by the Japanese fighters. You've got Nakatani, and I really don't want to butcher the rest of the names, but Japanese, four different Japanese fighters hold the four recognized world titles. Nakatani, probably the biggest name, the one most well known in boxing circles. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a key. I would love to see that fight, but part of me thinks Nakatani might go to super bantam pretty soon, and might have an all Japan fight with Inoue. So that's maybe something. Do you know what, mate? I didn't. I was maybe thinking it, and I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to come out with it now. I think Bam beats everybody at 118 pounds now as well, including Nakatani. I back Bam to beat Jindo Nakatani. Um, I- which sounds crazy because I'm saying it with so much confidence, but I just think I think we're dealing with an absolute superstar here, to be honest. Not that Nakatani isn't, but like, yeah, I mean, I can't see anybody beating Bam at the minute. He's just leveling up. Like, it's just we intricate movements even in the ring as well. We things like see that uppercut that he landed.
Mhm.
I mean, that was unbelievable. The way he switched his stance and kind of like switched his whole body language and posture the other way around so quickly and swiftly, just so natural. Things like
Yeah.
that, not a lot of fighters can do. And yeah, I back him to beat every single one of the champions at bantamweight. I mean, it's one of them as well. Where you don't want a fighter so good to then the weight to beat them, if you know what I mean. So like, oh, he goes to super bantam, he goes to featherweight or whatever, and then you get beat. But more like the
Mhm.
size and the weight beating him rather than the actual skill. I don't want that to happen, but I believe he wipes the floor at bantamweight. To be honest, as well, Thomas.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I would totally agree. He's looking really special. Um, I like the Nakatani fight. I think that Nakatani, um, I mean, obviously you like that fight as well, and mentioned you weren't supremely confident in picking Bam to beat Nakatani, but I like that fight because I think Nakatani uh, poses like dimensionally in terms of like his height and reach, like a real problem. I would like to see how Bam deals with that. Um, and I gotta ask, um, just because they're far apart on the weight scale, you know. Naoya is a little bit ahead at 122, about to move up to 126. Is there any, do you think there's any chance that that fight happens down the line at all? Maybe not next year, but perhaps the year after or sometime after that.
I don't know if I can see that fight, Thomas. To be honest, I'd love it to. I mean, I would love that fight to happen, but I suppose it's one of them where you're saying about the weight, and if Inouye was to go up to featherweight, maybe because Inouye is not massive, then I suppose you could make a case for it happening. And of course, as we mentioned before, Bam's only 24, so he could really grow. He could still grow a little bit and kind of thick out a little bit. And what is it? Superfly now? What featherweight? I don't think he would maybe go to feather. Super bantam's only what 7 pounds higher. Probably
Right.
not that much. So he could do it. I personally don't see it, and I'm not going to give you a prediction on how I think that could go because I don't want to. I don't necessarily want to right now. To be honest, I'd have to think about it a little bit more. But um, yeah, I don't see that fight happening personally, Thomas.
Okay, well, yeah, to be honest with you, it's kind of hard to argue. I think people just, especially in those lower weight classes, they just want those big, there perhaps maybe aren't as many big names, and they want those big names to face each other, even if they, aren't necessarily around each other on the weight scale. I think people just want to find ways to make that fight happen. But yeah, I'd agree. I just don't think it's realistic right now, and probably not ever, to be honest. But that's okay. I'm cool seeing Bam fight the likes of Nakatani, perhaps, or Chocolatito, you know. So we'll see what he does. Paul, thank you for joining me, my man. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and interact with our content any way you can. That'd be greatly appreciated. Paul, we'll see you on the next one, and thank you all for joining.